Hello and welcome to episode 9 of the Abbey RFC podcast. And if you are listening to us on Spotify, that doesn't feel any different at all. But if you are watching us on YouTube, this is the first amazing trip into the next fucking stratosphere of technology for us. Hey, Annette's here as well. Amazing. All four are here. We are now video and audio for your viewing pleasure. And it's a fucking dream today to not only have men's ones captain Will Bevan on with Frankie and I, but also the equally, if not more talented Annette Bevan, who's just come and waved, and I'm sure will at some point come and say hello. How you getting on, big man?
All right, mate. It's strange times, as you're all aware. We've discussed many a time on the podcast, but surviving all right. Actually, my naturally reclusive instincts have kicked in an absolute treat. So no, I don't mind being locked down. I've managed to find myself some gym equipment to use now, which is keeping me sane. So yeah, all good.
On a scale, on like the top 5 things that have got you through this, how high up has the podcast ranked for you?
I've genuinely enjoyed it, mate. It was a surprise to me when it first came out. I was like, what's this going to be about? But honestly, just hearing some familiar voices and some old tales, because I'm sure everybody who's listening to it is feeling exactly the same as me, and missing the rugby club and missing that social aspect, if not the actual playing of the game. So yeah, it's been brilliant having it about.
You notice Frankie didn't actually give us a number there, which means we were like top 5, 5th out of top 5, if that at all. So a quick question for you, Bev, and this is an important one because it actually came in from a caller, a fan of the podcast. Is it true, and you can dispel this myth now, is it true that you modelled your entire look and physique on Donkey Kong? Is that right?
No, Danny Care is mine.
Right, okay. It's just Donkey Kong would make more sense, particularly the whole snatching a princess and running off with her and not liking tradespeople. That sort of thing, that would make quite a lot of sense.
And the physical resemblance to a gorilla, are you inferring, or?
The big chest and big arms, that's all it is. I actually know this, and I think it was Matty Ellis said this once. He described you as the only man he knows with biceps on top of biceps, which is yeah.
That's a compliment.
You love that, don't you?
I'll take it.
Right, I want to get our first bit out of the way. It's our regular segment that we do, the shag, marry, shove off a cliff for you. I've prepared for you the 12s edition. So you have to shag one, marry one, shove one off a cliff, and they are Shax, Kieran Sweeney, and Brad Thomas.
I'll tell you what, mate. Before we start, you've absolutely stolen my thunder here, because I prepared my trio, it was the centres who look like front row, and what an intimidating front row. How scary would you be in the front row if those 3 boys came and stood in front of you and bound up? There's a lot of meat there, a lot of timber.
You've got to remember, I could be, if you just said put me in the front row, I'd shit myself anyway when they weren't there. So yeah, those 3 would be pretty big, but it's you that has to do this, not me.
Yeah, okay. This is a tricky one. That's why I came up with it. Right. So I think I like Shat's passion. I think when you train with him and you play with him, you see that he's a fiery character. He's a undoubtedly talented rugby player, but deep down there, there's a bit of a spark. And I think he'd be a very, very fiery, passionate kisser, someone that you probably wouldn't forget twice. So I think he'd be the kiss, the snog.
Well, the shag. It's not
shag. Sorry, yeah.
Right, it's grown
so
up
being
now.
Polite, yeah, I know. Marry Brad or marry Sweeney, and who do I push off a cliff?
It's really tough because you'd have to work hard to get all 3 of them off the cliff.
No, this is going to take all of my Donkey Kong strength to push either one of them. I think just because he's a sensitive guy deep down, and now Sweeney's a bit of an enigma to me because he turned up. It was this season, I'm pretty sure, beginning in summer, and then he played a couple of games and then disappeared for a long while. I think he was unlucky and got a bit of an injury, and then he's been playing 2s rugby, but he hasn't been to a lot of training sessions. So maybe he's not quite marriage material. Maybe he'd be similar to that in married life. So I think he's a
So
big
you're going to
one
marry
as well.
Brett?
You're going to marry Brad, you're going to shove Sweeney somehow off a cliff.
But wouldn't you love it to be serenaded by Brad when you got home from work or before you go to bed or in the morning as he's making you a cup of coffee? I really enjoyed it. He did a singing thing the other day on Facebook.
Did he?
Yeah.
He it was that when we it was the double header away at Aylesbury when we had a fun bus or fun coach, and on the way there he was behind me and he's cracking jokes and we're all having a good laugh, and then from nowhere he just started singing, and I was like, I wasn't expecting this at all. Like, this is not. And I think we were all singing, like he was singing.
Heaven, surely.
No, it was a song that was like a classic, a Motown classic, which he then blended into like some Maverick Sabre or something. And I was like, this is insane, but very talented guy. So you're going to shag Shax. Totally understand that, by the way. You're going to shove Sweeney off a cliff, and you're going to marry Brad. I have to defend Sween because he's part of my favourite fridge freezer combo in the centres. Yeah. But I totally understand. I totally understand your reasoning, and clearly he turned up for a bit, then he disappeared, and he came back with someone else. He's a cheat. That's clearly what's happened there, right? He's two-timed you for a bit. So I totally agree. Now, you're going to have to do this on the fly, considering we stole your three people. Have you got three for us?
Oh, dear. So, because I know this, it likes to live life close to the edge of this podcast. I'm pretty sure we haven't had this one, but
go on.
Let's go the young lads of Abbey RFC.
Okay.
Have you had that one before?
How young?
Well, we've had
a Colts edition.
Tommy Jeffrey. Have we? Have we had Tommy Jeffries?
We have, yeah.
Oh dear. This is going to be embarrassing now because I've got to think of something completely off the cuff.
It's all right. What we'll do is we'll cut this and put it in post. Don't worry, you'll be fine.
Okay. Let's go. Oh dear. Let's go Abbey Old Boys, Culhanians. Okay. Have we had that one?
No, not yet.
So the Culhanian edition.
Okay.
Only because I'm really struggling to think of anything else to tie three lads together. Tom Hogan.
Yeah.
Right.
Jeremy Treacle Knights.
Yeah.
And Ian Marsh.
Oh. Okay. Right. So this is difficult. Because
that's a real big of a bunch there, isn't it?
I
could have put Bill Brown in as well. I just realised I should have chucked Jack in.
You could have, but Jack's been involved in so many of these so far. He's going to have a week off. So I have an odd relationship with all three of these guys, right? So all three of them, something they've had in common is when I first met them, I've not been very keen on them, and then I've grown to really like them since, right? So when I first met Treacle, I didn't understand his humour at all. And I didn't understand why he could take something as small as not going straight down when you'd been touched in a touch game so seriously. And actually, I learned to love Treacle when I realised Treacle just, whatever it is, every training session, every post-game, during the game, whatever it is, just wants to do the best thing possible for the badge. Whatever it is, he wants to give everything for it. 100%. And I respect him massively for that. Marshy the same, right? Marshy, the first time I met him, I was like, God, he's the angriest man I've ever met, and he's giving me a load of shit, and I'm new to the club. What's he doing? But again, he just wants to drive everyone forward. And Hogan, I didn't understand his humour whatsoever when I first met him. So I was like, he's either really funny in a sarcastic, dry manner, or he's being an absolute arsehole. And it turns out he's just a very funny bloke, so I quite like him. So I'm going to struggle a little bit. But I'm going to go straight with my gut. I'm going to say I'm going to marry Hogan, right? Because I know he plays in a band and stuff, which means he's obviously a bit creative, a bit musical, and that means he's got many strings to his bow. Good-looking fella as well, right? So that's a bit of eye candy. I'm going to shag Marshy because of all of his long-distance running. I know he's got stamina. So, and I'm assuming I'm the bottom in that one, which means I'm going to get a really good go out of him for it's going to be a long night of it. And Treacle, only because he intimidates me so much in the shower, is going to have to go off a cliff because then that's one less person with a bigger dick than me at the club, which means it's now only 90 players. Frankie, what do you think?
No, fair. I immediately wanted to say marry Marshy just because I'm sure he's an outstanding husband and he's such a sound bloke. But he doesn't drink anymore, and I couldn't have that.
That's 500 days he done without alcohol, I saw recently.
I couldn't. He'd show me up too much. So I think probably shag Marshy.
Yep.
Because that's the next best thing. I don't know. I'd have to marry Treacle just because.
It's Treacle.
Yeah, I think we'd both be. He wouldn't show me up as much then. That's
strong.
Is that a nice way of putting it?
Yeah.
And then shove Hogan off the cliff. But for the same reason, I like his like he's been putting a few guitar videos out, same as Chomley Warner on the piano.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to their musical videos. So it's a shame, but I think maybe Hogan off the cliff.
Do you know what? I find that quite funny. You sent me a thing recently speaking about Chumley Warner. Last year's end of season do, the two players, we had Chumley Warner, Ed, Will Underwood, and Josh, 3 winners, 3 of them not seen the whole season.
No.
So worrying. That's like a poison chance with us. But anyway, well done everyone on Shag, Marry and Shovel for Cliff. Congratulations for getting that through. And well done, Bev, for a last minute thought through. We asked people this: what aside from the obvious podcast listening have you been doing during lockdown to keep that bit sane and the body in such immaculate shape?
I have been experimenting with road running, which I'm not getting on very well with. I just, no matter how much I do, I just can't bring myself to like it. So I'll tell you who's doing a really good job for me is Jules on Saturday and Sunday. And I don't know if you boys have been on board with any
one of these.
Zeal personal training, but that is a great way. I do find that a great way to start my Saturday and my Sunday if I can make both of them, because he's got great enthusiasm. He plays some good tunes. The weather's been brilliant, obviously outside doing it with the shirt off. So that's been getting me through. It has predominantly been just any element of fitness, and if I can find something to pick up, I've been doing it and curl it.
Were you also doing 5K a day in May?
No, I was having a chat with Matt before we started this. Our old bodies just couldn't hack that. I tried one at lunch today, and I've just recovered from pulling a glute doing sprints against a 3-year-old.
Oh, lovely.
Last week, and I've just tweaked the calf doing a 5K today at a slow pace. So no, my old bones definitely can't hack that. I'm
getting 4 5Ks a week in, and it's brutal on the knees. Just brutal. I don't know how people do it, like run marathons. I've done a half marathon before, but running a marathon and stuff on, in like New York somewhere where you do it on tarmac, it must just destroy you.
I love the little competition we got going with the lads as well. The girls are doing the same thing, and just the competitiveness for that has been just a bit of competitive juices flowing has been really good.
You're also seeing there were some people who enthusiastically got involved in like week 1 who have just dropped off, and then there's others of us that are desperately trying to hang on to some version of win.
So it takes me about 2 hours every Thursday to tally up the points and go through who scored what, and I can see exactly who's scoring what each week. And Frankie, I'm calling you out here. You've not scored a point for about 3 weeks.
Whoa!
2 weeks. So basically, what I've done, I've got all the screenshots. Get ready for all the excuses. Basically, I've got all the screenshots, but I've just been terrible adding them to the thing. So, I think it was last week was the last one I did. And I basically waited to the last minute on Thursday. And I was like, wait, this one. So, I've been doing 300s and just not adding it. And I literally just come back from a cycle ride that I need to do as well. So, I've been doing it, but
sounds like an excuse.
It is, but I can prove it. So
yeah, of course you can. Like Ollie Shaw, just like Googling Garmin watch front. Oh, there you go.
What
I find odd is that he's running in like Chicago, California. It's amazing where he is. For lockdown, he's in serious trouble.
He's right up there with workout of the whole thing though. That cycle into London, that was impressive. That's up there with
that's madness.
Eddie Woodger's marathon row. That was those two right up there for.
Are you genuinely like telling by person how much exercise they're doing?
I have no other way. I'm not clever enough on computers. or Facebook, shall I say, to figure out how to go through it rather than count every comment.
I really I want to publish that league table at the end of lockdown.
Oh, it will become. I will let people know who's done well, and I'll let people know who should have done better. The one man I am delighted to see has finally joined the party is Big Shax, and he seems to be actually looking in decent shape.
Shakhtar Donetsk is doing ever so well. I'm proud of him. He's like an enigma, right? Because I remember meeting Shax and thinking, God, he was carrying a bit of timber. And then he disappeared for a few weeks and came back at a training session and he was absolutely lean. And I was like, well, where the hell's all that gone? And he was like, oh, I just had a real word with myself and I just got rid of it. And I was like, how? How is it possible to make that sort of change in like a 6-week period? But, that's the Shakademus, right? He's got it in him. So I said earlier that I've got some questions for you, Bev, and I think everyone wanted this particular podcast because, you're a man who not only is in that inner circle with the coaches, but also a very big part of the playing staff as well. If you could sum up that 2019-2020 season, and obviously I know we were cut short, what would be the sort of, not first team highlight so much, but the sort of overall summary for all of us as a playing staff for the men's and from training and the games and socials and stuff. And how would you rank that out of 10 for the season overall?
As an overall number, I would rank the season, I don't know where we're looking, probably a 5 or 6 with all things considered, and the early cut-off, which was super frustrating for everyone. I was really impressed that we actually got some decent numbers consistently to training on a Tuesday and Thursday on the men's side of the club this year. Obviously, results didn't really go the way many people wanted them to go before Christmas. That was for any number of reasons or excuses we could come up to, but ultimately, I just don't think that the want was there across all the playing teams, and the commitment to make sure everyone, the right people, were getting out there on a Tuesday, Thursday, and making sure that they were consistently getting out, so we could have 2-3 really strong teams out every Saturday. I think the coaching, I love some of the drills that the boys have been putting in, some of the statistical stuff that TC's been doing and Beckley's been helping out with. I think that's been great. It's been loads of phases and aspects of what we've done this year from the playing side that I think we're going to learn from, benefit us going forward. Social side, I do think we've still got a little bit to learn from, and that's hard for me to say because I am Mr. Antisocial. But I mean, I know that there's a group of lads who go to the pub every Tuesday, Thursday for a beer or two after training, which is brilliant. And hopefully that number swells again next year. Doing the food for the lads on a Thursday after training, I think, has been something good that we've learned from. It's kept a few more boys and up and around. But yeah, I mean, just the Saturday nights after the games, and it's difficult because when I first joined and I was a bit younger and a bit more fun, that was a massive part of Abbey culture, and the Crown was something different back then, and unfortunately it's not quite what it was now, but there was just the absolute buzz after a win. The whole club, and it was a bit, maybe that's wrong to say the whole club, it was the first and second team would go out as one and the third team would go out, and I didn't like that particularly back then, but everybody was out, and I think that's something that needs to find a way back into the men's senior side of the game.
So I think it's interesting. So I agree with you. I think there have been some really good bits we can learn from and replicate when we can get back. Like for me, last season's pre-season was the best pre-season I've done in all the time I've been playing rugby, because yes, there were some fitness aspects in the early stage, but we did a lot of very fun drills and worked through a game plan, and we worked it hard. And I felt we were in the position come the kickoff for the first game where I think all of us had an idea about the identity of how we wanted to play and the mentality and philosophy for the club. I think it has been really difficult at times, certainly in the Abbots, with training numbers and things, it's made it has been really difficult, and fluctuations in numbers of players available for a Saturday. One thing I would say is on the social side, when we've had socials that have included the nuns, we've had belting socials and they've been really good fun. And I think it's because the nuns do socials better than we do. When it's been men's only socials, it's sometimes been a little bit last minute organised, and it's felt just a bit, yeah. And like things like the Halloween one was just a bit underwhelming at times, whereas other ones have been absolutely brilliant. So I think the social's been pretty decent. I slightly disagree on the training front. I think we do some stuff, some drills that are brilliant to do, and they're real live game stuff. But I do think there's an overwhelming feeling amongst the playing staff that we do too much touch.
Yeah, I think one area we learned from towards the back of last season, and results, I think, mirrored it, was that we turned the touch into a more shoulders on, more aggressive touch.
Semi-contact, effectively.
So I think, and I think there's been a long-held opinion from some of the old boys at the club for a couple of seasons now, and probably some of the playing guys that are probably a little bit soft in
We are.
a lot of aspects of the game. We can get bullied at times in all the teams, across all the teams. So, yeah, I just think building that element of contact into training is something that, going forward, I think we're going to maintain. The skills drills, I just think we need. It's really important. It's one thing I've learned from actually taking on some of the coaching with the ladies team, and they've got a guy you may have met, or some of you may be familiar with, Ali, who is a really highly qualified coach. And he's just, all we do for a lot of the sessions is just skills, and just drill those basics into them. And I think the end goal is that it's player led, but everyone's just got to have those standards that they can do the basics a little bit better than we do the basics. So that's bad.
Considering not playing international rugby, and I know that is a shock to a lot of people that I haven't had a call up yet, but my genuine belief is, and certainly at twos level, but if you're playing amateur rugby, if you are fit enough to last 80 minutes and your basics are good, i.e. you can pass, catch and tackle, you've got a really good chance of winning most of your games.
Yeah,
because honestly, it's not that complicated a game, rugby. There's a lot of nuances to it and specialist skills in front row and stuff that I'm sure I'll never understand. But effectively, if you can run hard at someone and beat them, or you can work an overlap, or alternatively in defence, if you could just man up 1-to-1 and the person doesn't get past you, you are likely to win more games than you're going to lose. And I think that's some of the bit that the sort of soft Abbey I knew before I came and joined the club was, before you played a game against Abbey, you always felt if you got the ball and there was a guy in front of you, just run at them. If there's nothing else, just run at them, because there was a good chance you'd get through, or at least you'd push Abbey on the back foot, quick ball, and you'd be away. And I still think we play that way. I don't think we're aggressive enough at times. And I know, you're the most aggressive of the three of us on this podcast, Bev, right? So Frankie and I are hardly intimidating folk. But if you run with intensity straight at someone, you've got a decent chance of getting through. But I don't think we run that hard. I think we always believe in ourselves sometimes. Like someone like George House embodies, I'm glad he was player of the season, embodies that mentality of, oh, look, there's no space for me to go around you. I'm going to run straight over you. And maybe we don't really have that confidence. I think the desire for people to do more contact is, one, to be able to become more comfortable with tackling someone like that. And two, is just, pre-season last season, there was a bit where I got the ball, I think from a tip, Luke blew the whistle and was like, do that again. I was like, why? I was like, why didn't you run over the player in front of you? And I was like, well, because it's unlikely that I'm going to get past him. And it's like, just redo it and just run straight at him. Like, you've got to have that confidence. And I think we have to build that back.
Yeah, I mean, that is exactly, I mean, that's how you mentally beat teams, is going out there and showing them you're bigger. Well, not necessarily bigger, but you're tougher. You're less scared than they are. Essentially, for most people, and there are a few, I call them nutters, but like the George Houses who love the tackling, the Ed Houses who love the tackling side of the game. Personally, it's and I know most people's least favourite aspect on the game day. I don't want to be tackling people. I don't want someone to run straight at me. I'd love them to ship the ball on. So yeah, absolutely. If you can, nothing else on. There's no point in throwing a pass to your mate outside. You just put your shoulder down, and it doesn't matter. Even people my size, your size, Frankie's size, you're still going to break your fair share of tackles if you run with a purpose. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We, all three of us, sit on the, what I'm going to now call the Abbey PR committee group, right? For everyone that's listening or watching this, you'll see that there's been a load of effort made more recently, or loads of new stuff that you'll be seeing coming out there. You obviously are responsible for putting that sort of group together, Will. What's the purpose, so that people understand why we're doing this stuff and why they're seeing these new things out there?
I mean, it's all for trying to get some new players into the club, because every year you lose players, so you need to replace those. So part of it is to draw attention to the club and see if there's any new players moving to the area who notice us on social media. But it's also to give the guys and the girls who are committed and long-term members a bit of something just to get their teeth into. I mean, the playing cards, Apple trading cards, I know you're responsible for the design of those. Man, I think they've gone down really well. I think people really, really bought into it, and they just like that little bit. It's a personal touch. I'm living with Annette, obviously, who was one of the early releases. Should have seen it when she was announced as a shiny card. George House as well messaged me straight away. Am I shiny? Am I shiny? Just those little personal touches, I think, are just nice rewards for people.
The problem is, loads of people now know that I'm doing it, and I keep getting shitloads of messages going, can I have this? Can you do that? What do the icons mean? All that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I normally only get that many messages when I'm fucked up on a Saturday, and I get loads of shit from people. So, like,
building suspense, aren't we? We're building some suspense.
We are. And for anyone that is listening or watching, if you want to be involved, it is literally as simple as making a donation. And we'll tell you in a second what that donation is for and how much it needs to be. In exchange for that, you will have created for you your playing card, your playing trading card. You will go into packs. You'll be released. There will be upcoming Player of the Month packs. There are shinies, as you've seen already. And who knows, there may be physical versions of these cards available in the near future too. So, Will, tell them about the donations bit.
Yeah, so we're doing it. Obviously, everyone's well aware what a cracking job the NHS are doing. So we're going to give some of the proceeds to some of the NHS charities, but also club is missing out on a lot of revenue that they usually generate over the summer from tournaments like Fat Boys that cover a lot of the costs across the course of the season. So part of the proceeds will go to the club as well, just to make sure that we're all got a club to go and play at next season.
That we've got some pitches to go and play on in a few weeks' time.
There's the playing cards, like you say, but there's a few other exciting bits coming through. You've seen the player profiles. We're working on quite a nice project with a couple of high-profile guys from a professional club. You can probably guess who they are. I'll give you a little teaser there. But yeah, it's been good to just. I mean, I and Treacle are probably the least creative people you can find, and you've seen many a message from me saying, "How do I do this on Instagram? How do I do that on Facebook?" So
that's why Frankie and I are involved.
Yeah, it's been nice having you two come on board, and Ollie and Minnie Marsh and Tommy Jeffries and Ellie coming into. It's nice to have a few more people involved to help out around it.
Wonderful. And thank you to everyone already who has donated. It's been very, very kind. The likes of Cookie and Marcus and Brad and a whole load of other people. Thank you very much indeed for contributing. And yeah, just get in touch with Bev or myself if you're interested in Will or Frankie, obviously.
Thanks for
take it forward.
Rugby Grandad for getting the photographs as well.
Yeah.
He's a legend.
For getting shots of me out of a subs jacket is nice as well.
It's rare, isn't it?
Yeah. So they exist. So that's what
most of the pictures of me though are me like complaining or something or having a go, which is not positive. Not a lot of ball in hand.
Everyone should buy him a beer.
Can I have a greater donation for Toby Stakers to be him in his Elsa outfit?
Oh, no, you can't. You can't start revealing stuff about social cards and things. That's not allowed yet. So just shut your mouth.
Right.
You're not allowed to have this stuff in there. One thing I think we should be adding, by the way, to it, I think we've got a load of Abbey training gear, which is great. I think there should be a little bit more Abbey casual gear. You can have Abbey t-shirts and stuff that can be both for like supporters, but also for players to wear like when they're not playing and things. I think that's another nice revenue stream for the club because I don't always want to be wearing kit, but it was nice sometimes to have a Abbey polo shirt on or t-shirt on or whatever. It's something we should be looking at.
I think they have existed. I couldn't tell you when or what season.
Abbey hoodies always very popular.
Yeah, I love my hoodie. I wear that a lot. Not now, obviously. It's fucking boiling. Bev, I've got a question for you. Important. I'd like to know your favourite player to play with from the 1s, the 2s, and the 3s.
Oh dear.
We'll answer ours too, don't worry.
So for the 1s, my favourite player to play with, this is hard because I do enjoy playing with a lot of them. But I'm going to have to say probably my right-hand man, Dex, just because he's always the voice of reason sometimes when it's needed. And fair play to him, he's captained more games than I have this season because I missed most of it early on. He's always dependable, he's always there. Smart rugby player, so makes my job easier at the best of times. Second team player I most enjoy playing with.
Might be from training because obviously you might not have played the game with them recently.
I think I've probably played most of the second team boys at some point. Who do I like playing with? I would have loved to have played with the Sweeney more. Like I know you're a big fan of his, and in pre-season he was devastating in some of those pre-season friendlies, even just picking up from the base of the ruck and rumbling over. So I'll say I was limited, but I do think there's a lot of big potential there with Sweeney.
Yeah.
Third team. Ooh. Are we going just from people who played this year, or?
Yeah, do this year.
Because I know there's been a few ringers in with the third team. I think they've had Jim Dye play for them. Yeah. They had Emery play for them. Malin play for them. Those boys could all start training a little bit more regularly. They'd all be pushing first team spots. But just for comedy value, I don't think you can look further past Cookie to train him.
No.
Just his legs trying to run at any pace is golden.
I genuinely think in a straight line race between him and Disco Charlie, it's going to be a dead heat. Like just unbelievable. And that's being harsh to Disco Charlie, to be honest. I'm slightly different in the players that I like playing with. So my one player that I love playing with, I love training with massively, is John Malavoie. I find him the most gifted player from a creativity point of view I've played with. Like he can make stuff happen from nowhere. The no look sort of passes or things that he does sometimes, I'm just blown away by it. And he's so unpredictable. He's a bit like like you get a really good dancer with a shit dancer, and they can make them look better. I always find that if I play with him, he makes stuff happen that makes me look like a better player. So I've loved playing with him as one. My 2's player is Sweeney because he's the most ridiculously strong bloke at times. We played against Newbury where we were getting absolutely dicked. They pumped the ball through the middle, came to me, I ran into tackle. Someone secured it. He picked it up and literally from flat, put his arm out and just walked through 4 lads, just shoving them face into the ground over and over again. He's just brilliant, and I love having him in the 2s, and you're never having him in the 1s ever again because he's mine now. My 3's player, do you know what? It's probably harsh to call him a 3's player. Is Hogan. I love the fact that we've had times when he's played in the centres and things, and I've been like, oh, I'm not sure it's his best position. And then I played a game with him when he played on the flank, and he was just a monster. He was like Ryan Williams was the same way, or Dildo was the same way when he made the switch with the twos. And Hogue literally went from being this like sort of like nice banterous lad in the changing room to just this fucking monster on the pitch and unnecessarily aggressive. And it was just brilliant. Absolutely loved it. So those are my 1, 2s and 3s favourite players. Frankie?
Yeah. So mine, I think, are a bit... I'm going to say they're all in those particular teams that I've played with them in, obviously apart from first team.
Yeah.
But my third team immediately came to mind was Babes, Chinese Babes. I know he's like played first team.
Played all 3 teams now, hasn't he?
But yeah, he's I've played with him a few times, most only really at Fat Boys, and both times that I've gone to Trip Not Tour. And we've literally we're both just too immature, I think. So we literally just, even while we're playing, just talking shit to each other and just like live commentary on the game, but taking the piss out of other players, like while we're playing and while we're passing to each other. And it just makes me giggle. So I think he'll be my one for third team, despite not really being a third team player. For twos, I'd have to say Steve Warwick, just because the last couple of games he played for twos, he was a monster. And I know he's probably played for all 3 teams as well in his time at Abbey so far. But
he's a beast.
He literally was just like, also a lot of the moves that are new to me, he's obviously done for the last however many years,
40 years, yeah.
Let's be polite. And he just runs them so slick, and it's like, that's actually nice for me to watch and sort of try and replicate. But then also playing with him, he's like a coach and a player at the same time as well. So for me coming in quite recently, and for him having a bit more experience, I really enjoy playing with him.
And he's a frontline hero as well, which means we fucking love him.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, he is exactly the sort of player that you want. The wingers, the back three coming up from the Colts to have a look at Steve Warwick, because he's scored a lot of tries over a lot of years for 1s, 2s, 3s, wherever he's played. So he's definitely someone.
And your first team of Frankie?
First team. There's a few that I really enjoy with. I can obviously only speak from training when I do show up, and that would either be yourself, Bev.
Boo.
Thanks, mate.
Beckley or George, I think, just because the energy you guys all put in, but you sort of both do you can do the fun joke about stuff when that's time, but then you can also do right, this is how we're doing it, and this is how to do it properly as well. Not to sort of fluff you too much, but
George spent a lot of time in my first pre-season at the club explaining moves to me and stuff in drills. Like if I fucked up, I'd go to the back of the line for the next go, and he would literally come round and say, right, you want to be here, you want to do this bit.
To help the less able guys.
I do. We
for myself as well.
But we have got a great balance of old timers like myself and Bex, George, Ed, Treek. Won't mind me putting them in that bracket, who've been at the club a long time. And we've got also a fantastic, like John, like Shax, like Brad, like Jakey Leach, like AP, all young lads, like forget how young they are. There's a fantastic blend of older, wiser heads with some just raw talent coming through across. I'm excited to see what some of these Colts. Maxi Boucher grew up great confidence built throughout the season, and towards the end of it, as good as anybody putting on the first team shirt. Ollie Evans, I'm excited to see what he can do. Sol's been getting better and better.
We've got some unbelievable youngsters in the twos, mate. Honestly, like Billy Parrish, I think it's Billy Parrish. He came and played with us. He was man of the match both games he played for us. He was superb. Ollie Evans is a super player, really, really getting better and better every game and more confident. Tom Jeffries has got some really good skills. He's building in a game against Bracknell where he came on and he was a great player.
But Zaki Mayo, can't forget Zaki Mayo.
Yeah, Mayo. Jono's coming through. He's played a couple of games off the bench. Ryan Stamps played a couple of games off the bench.
Yeah.
You know, if we can, one of the things about the twos, and we're really proud of it in the Abbots, is we're a home for those Colts players when they first start to develop and playing senior rugby. and the progression of those guys, I take massive pride in this season for how we've helped facilitate that. And actually, even this week, I've had some messages from those guys just saying, thanks for last season, thanks for making it fun to come and join, but also taking the time to explain stuff to us and things. And I'm not the most gifted player, but it's been a real pleasure helping them sort of come into this, and nothing would make me prouder than to see them go and put a first team jersey on.
I mean, it's an area that it's been highlighted as, that transition from Colts to senior rugby hasn't been anywhere near good enough in years gone by. Probably since I've been at the club, to be honest, there's very rarely a big group of Colts who come through and stick with it. And it's something that's being addressed currently, is how we make sure that we don't lose. Because there's undoubtedly some really talented kids, and I went to see a few Colts games, and I mean, it's slightly different to men's rugby, but for me, the kick passes from one side of the field to the other on the
from
money,
flankers, I've heard about this.
Just skills for days. So bit as your way.
Nice.
Awesome to get them through.
Right, as we draw to a close, it's a lovely, lovely day. It's a Friday, unfortunately, not a Thursday where we would be normally doing this. But Bev, you know what happens at the end of the training session. We have a lovely huddle together. I don't know if Annette is there to huddle next to you in what is an important period.
She's pissed off for a run, actually.
Oh, what a bitch. No, we love you, Annette. Please don't hurt me next time I see you. So firstly, you get into the huddle at the end of a hot session. Who's on your left and who's on your right? I know you're normally next to Luke, but who are you next to?
I'm changing up. I'm going on a Monday. This is a Monday night. And I'm actually next to Coach Lewis on my right.
Yeah.
And I am next to Claire Stevens on my left.
Amazing. Well, in that case, we will hand it over to you to do the world famous end of training thing with us.
I can't actually remember which way. It's been so long. Is it 1, 2, 3 or 3, 2, 1?
It's up to you, mate.
1, 2, 3. Abbey.
Right, Frankie, every time. Wanker.
What?
Right. Always delayed. Bev, thank you very much indeed. Everyone that's watching,
Pleasure.
Please comment, like, share, all that sort of stuff. It makes a massive, massive difference to us. One final thing before we end. I know that someone who's watching this or listening to this has been using a VPN because they change the country that they listen to the podcast from every single week. And I now know that you're doing this on purpose because the letters of the first letter of each of the letters of the countries so far have spelt MF is a cunt. So thank you very much indeed, whoever that is. Love you to bits. Goodbye and cut. Was that all right for you, Bev?
Lovely. Yeah, all good.
Enjoy that?
Yes.
Nothing you want cut?
No, I don't think I said anything too controversial.
We'll edit some in for you.
I do just think I should have spoken more about the nuns, but never mind.
No, well, that's because we can have Annette on for another episode now and she can actually do that instead. Also, I noticed there's a Player of the Season cup on the windowsill behind you that doesn't show that it's nuns. Well done.
That is a nuns one, yeah.
Well done.
My 3 are at the club.
Oh, twat. Right, just let you know I'm still recording this bit, so I might include that in.
Oh, yeah.
Right, I will end the recording now, guys. Thank you very much